In the quiet, forgotten town of Raven Hollow, an old mansion stood, shrouded in mist and mystery. No one dared to go near it, not since the night the Henderson family vanished without a trace. The house had remained empty for decades, its windows dark, its doors shut tight, as if sealing in a dark secret. One crisp autumn evening, a young couple, Jack and Emily, decided to explore the abandoned mansion. They were urban adventurers, always seeking out the eerie and the unexplained. The townsfolk warned them, their eyes filled with fear, but the couple brushed off the warnings as superstitious nonsense. The sun was setting as they approached the mansion, its silhouette looming against the fiery sky. The iron gate creaked open, and a chill ran down Emily's spine.
Are you sure about this?
She asked, clutching Jack's arm.
Come on, Em. It's just an old house. We'll be fine.
Jack reassured her, though his voice wavered slightly. They pushed open the heavy front door, which groaned in protest, and stepped into the dimly lit foyer. Dust motes danced in the pale light, filtering through the grime-covered windows. The air was thick with the scent of mildew and decay. As they ventured deeper into the house, the temperature seemed to drop. They found themselves in a grand hallway lined with portraits of the Henderson family. The eyes in the paintings seemed to follow them, their expressions stern and accusatory.
Jack, I don't like this.
Emily whispered.
It's just our imaginations.
Jack replied, but he couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. They climbed the creaking staircase to the second floor, where they found a door slightly ajar. Pushing it open, they discovered a child's bedroom, untouched by time. A dusty teddy bear sat on the bed, and a small rocking chair moved gently back and forth, as if an unseen child was playing. Suddenly, they heard a soft giggle. Emily's heart raced as she clutched Jack's hand tighter.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Jack said, his face pale.
Let's check it out.
They followed the sound down the hallway to another room. This door was locked, but Jack managed to force it open. Inside was a study, filled with old books and papers. A large, ornate mirror hung on the wall, its surface covered in a thick layer of dust. Emily walked over and wiped away the dust, revealing their reflections. But behind them, in the mirror, stood a shadowy figure. Emily screamed, and they both spun around, but the room was empty.
Let's get out of here,
Jack said, his voice trembling. They ran down the stairs, but the front door slammed shut before they could reach it. Panic set in as they struggled to open it, but it wouldn't budge. The house seemed to be alive, trapping them inside. Desperate, they fled to the basement, hoping to find another way out. The basement was even colder, and the air was heavy with a foul odor. In the dim light, they saw a figure crouched in the corner, its back to them.
Hello?
Jack called out, but the figure didn't move. As they approached, the figure slowly turned around. It was a woman, her face gaunt and eyes hollow. She wore a tattered dress, and her skin was a sickly gray.
Help me,
she whispered, her voice raspy and filled with despair.
Who are you?
Emily asked, her voice shaking.
I'm Mrs. Henderson.
The woman replied.
They took my family. They took us all.
Who took you?
Jack asked, but before she could answer, the room plunged into darkness. The air filled with whispers, unintelligible and maddening. Cold, bony hands grabbed at them from the shadows, pulling them deeper into the basement. Emily screamed as she felt herself being dragged away from Jack.
Emily!
Jack's voice was distant, filled with terror. The last thing Emily saw was the pale face of Mrs. Henderson, her mouth twisted into a grotesque smile.
You will never leave,
she whispered. And in Raven Hollow, the mansion stood silent once more, its windows dark, its doors shut tight, as if sealing in yet another dark secret. The townsfolk spoke in hushed tones of the young couple who vanished without a trace, just like the Hendersons. No one dared to go near the mansion, not since that night. And the whispers in the basement continued, forever echoing the despair of those who dared to enter the House of Shadows.